5 stocks to watch next week. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor, and today we're going to be bringing back a series that we used to do on the channel every single weekend where we take a look at some interesting stocks to watch for the following week. So today I got 5 different stocks coming up for you, all a little bit different. Some of them are worth watching based off of technicals, some of them have earnings come up, some of them have had big pieces of news recently. All of them have decent trading ranges and are worth looking at, for one, if you're looking to add to that company for your long-term position, if we get some good news, and others just to trade within some certain interesting ranges. I'm going to have another video like this coming out tomorrow in regards to 5 electric vehicle stocks. Next week is more than likely going to be a very big week for a lot of EVs, so if you want to see that video, make sure to subscribe, put the notifications on so you don't miss a video. Also, please, while you're here, give me a nice juicy early like. I'll wait for you to do it. It helps me out an awful lot. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what stocks you are watching next week. And with all that being said, let's get into the first company of the day. So the very first one we're going to speak about is Twitter. I think everybody knows what's going on in the world of Twitter right now between Twitter and Elon Musk. And they have had some very volatile periods of time, to say the absolute least. Here in the span of only 2 days, there was a 17.8% downward move. And then over the next week or so, there was a 25% upward move. There is some huge moves happening here. As of right now, RSI isn't anywhere crazy, the volume hasn't been the largest, the chart is very, very messy, but the reason to watch it next week is because of this: Twitter to hold vote on the Musk merger on September 13th. Now, there is a chance that this has little to no effect on Twitter's stock price on this particular day, but there always is a chance that it could lead to, an exaggerated move. Even tomorrow, Monday, before this happens on Tuesday, it could lead, anticipation could move the stock price up or down, depending on what way broader markets are going, honestly. But Twitter wants its shareholders to approve the company's $44 billion acquisition by Elon Musk, and the company and Musk will head to court in October. Musk notified Twitter on July 8th that he planned to cancel the acquisition, citing allegations that the company failed to properly account for the number of spam and fraud accounts on its service, among other disputes. Twitter then sued Musk to enforce the deal and alleged that the Tesla chief refuses to honor his obligations to Twitter and its stockholders because the deal he signed no longer serves his personal interests. So, a lot of back and forth here. Nobody really knows exactly what is going to happen, but this shareholder vote on September 13th will more than likely lead the way for what's going to happen over the next week or two at least. So put it onto your watch list. See how it moves tomorrow. See if anything does happen relatively interestingly from a technical point of view. Some people will probably argue a cup and handle forming here, but there's no way that that cup was anywhere near being formed. It looks too messy to call, but let's see what Monday has to offer us and see if any more news comes out before the actual vote. Now, next up, we're going to speak about Adobe, okay? Their earnings are coming out after hours on Thursday. And there's a couple of interesting things to take a look at here. First of all, we've seen that they have beat earnings the last few. It doesn't always lead to the stock's price going up, though, in all honesty. You can see that very clearly. Now, last earnings that came out, they did beat, and they did proceed to go on a nice run over the preceding, weeks, months even. Went up all about 24-25% in total. And since then, they have come back and given back pretty much all of those gains after dropping down as much as nearly 20%, and now back up quite another few percent. So you can see Adobe isn't one that people are generally going to think of as a volatile one, or one that is good for, shorter to medium term investing. Not even medium, but shorter, weeks or months. But there is money to be made here when you catch it right. And you can see the RSI in particular has respected quite heavily, not all of the time, but you can see the last few times it's come down to those low levels, it's gone on a nice move to the upward side. And that's exactly what we saw begin to happen just a few days ago, going from about $365 a share all the way up to $395. So, in a few days, that's a very, very nice return. The volume is staying pretty steady. Now, why do I think this one in particular is worth watching going into Thursday? It's because of this. Okay, analysts expect their Q3 financial performance to be weak, as indicated by the current sell side consensus numbers and the changes to consensus forecast in the last 3 months. Just generally speaking, there is a negative outlook towards Adobe in the short term at the very least, so within the next 12 months. There is a high probability of an earnings beat, okay? But this could be negated by lower full year guidance and negative management commentary on future growth prospects. And that's kind of the reasons why, the last few earnings reports, despite being beats, didn't necessarily lead to any considerable upward moves for any considerable period of time. Now, one thing to point out, though, is there has been quite a bit of consolidation and maybe a shortish term support starting all the way back around mid-June, right at around these levels, right around the 355 to 360 mark. They've struggled to break below there, which could be a good thing for people looking to go long. I would not be surprised at all if earnings aren't up to the standards that people expect them to be. If we could see a sell-off towards this range, give back the gains that have happened over the last 3 to 4 days, see if that brings the RSI back down to a lower level, and then move back upwards. Even if it's only back up to these similar levels, or, you know, towards that 410, 415-ish mark, there still is some good ranges to trade here. Now, me personally, I'm not an Adobe investor. I do use some of their products, and I love their products, but as of right now, there's nothing to get too excited about for me personally long term, but I think they're worth having on your watch list, again, if you are trying to pick up some 5 to 10% shorter term trades with relatively low risk. Just see what happens with earnings here. And again, watch them for the next few days, see what the general investor sentiment is. Now, the next one we're going to speak about, okay, is one that we haven't spoken about on this channel for a very, very long time. It's actually XOM. Now, XOM, for the whole year, have been on an incredible run. They're up about 60, 75%. They've been up as much as 80-ish% here. They are going crazy. Now, one thing to note with XOM is I've seen a few analysts speaking about it in a few different, well, analysts, but more so actually just people who write their own columns on, you know, Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, Seeking Alpha, all of that. Cup and handle forming to an extent here. A lot of people seem to be looking for a 103 to 106 hit for Exxon, then a minor pullback, and then an upward move. So keep an eye on it. It's definitely not outside the realms of possibility. If that RSI ends up going to overbought levels by the time it hits up here, again, at that kind of 103 to 106 level, we could see that kind of handle form just come down here, maybe come back around to these general levels before a continuation in the upward direction. But it could happen very quickly. Now, I'm putting it on the list, but this is probably one you're going to want on your watch list for more than just next week. This play could still take a couple of weeks to get back up to where it needs to be, and then we need to see the rejection happen to be able to enter a relatively long-term trade. But it's an interesting one right now. The cup and handle is there, and again, there are relatively large swings here. There's a lot of stocks I was looking at, okay, where the ranges are just too small to be worth your while right now. I mean, there's a lot of them out there right now where they're trading within only like 5% ranges regularly. But we can see here from these recent-ish lows up here is a 22% move. But more than that, you can see 10% moves happening pretty much weekly at this stage, both upwards and downwards, which is plenty of room to trade in. Especially if you do wait for the right setup, wait for volume to come in, wait for a cup and handle to form, wait for the rejection, and then enter, get that upward move. Risk is going to be relatively low, and you could look at scooping up a nice little profit. And then we are actually going to speak about Oxy as well. And now what you're going to see is a cup and handle that looks like the handle has just formed, which may well mean it is going to be a good time to go into a long-term position. You can see volume flew in towards the end of August there, and now they have been booming their way up. They made some really nice moves, and now they have retraced. So here's our cup, here is our handle. It's at about 50%. We could well expect to see some upward moves happening here. Now, if you're wondering who Oxy are, you may well have heard of them in the past. A lot of people will know them generally due to Warren Buffett here, holding a 4.46% stake of his overall portfolio. And yeah, again, it's been a very good year for Oxy. I think the name needs to tell you all there is to know about this company. Occidental Petrolium Corp is an American company engaged in hydrocarbon exploration in the United States and the Middle East. So, you know, a lot of the crave right now, they have been continually in an uptrend here. I would not be surprised at all if we do see a nice upward move in here. And again, there's a nice range. Even if you just play it to its very recent highs there from this position, that's a 15% move. And if it is a cup and handle and if it plays out that way, we could expect it to continue up even higher. So this one here could be a nice short or medium term play. Oxy generally has been very volatile. And if you are in this at the wrong time, or the right time, you will see huge days. Look at this one here, for example, $48 all up to $56 in one day. You would wonder why this is one of Warren Buffett's biggest holdings, considering just how volatile it is. But look, it's worked out for him this year, to say the least. And then the last one I actually want to speak about is UPS, okay? So there's a couple of articles I want to go through here quickly. This first one, industrial stocks end the week with a 3.4% gain as market breaks losing streak, okay? So an indicator of movements for industrial stocks closed with a weekly gain as market indexes broke a 3-week losing streak. So the industrial sector SPDR ETF will hold consist of large cap industrial companies climbed 3.4% from a week earlier, and it had been down the previous 3 weeks. So again, you guys can take this information and go look at other companies that aren't just UPS right now. You'll see Cat was the biggest one. Caterpillar, 4.79% gain on the week. A lot of other big names in there. You have your Boeings, General Electrics, Lockheed Martins. This is a generally bullish sign altogether, I would say, for the industrial sector. But the reason I want to bring up UPS is also because of this, okay? The next inflation threat could be a US rail strike. Now, this may not be something that people will think of all that often, but why, again, I'm including it for next week is this. US freight railroads will reportedly reduce some service after Monday, with a new rail union contract still up for negotiation. And then the important bit is this. The reduced service would come ahead of a potential rail strike date of September 17 if talks fail to... I scrolled too early. If talks fail to progress. The Association of American Railroads estimate that a strike would cost the economy $2 billion per day. And, you know, you have to think about the kind of people this really is going to affect. So a rail strike could disrupt the retail industry. Giants like Walmart, Home Depot, FedEx, UPS will be impacted as well. They may not have the same, you know, delivery demand. Well, they certainly won't have the same delivery demand if they can't get things from their freights. The reason I included UPS on this one is partially down to this here as well, because of the industrials. But again, we look at it, and you know, there has been a considerable amount of movement. They went up on a really, really nice run lately, broke RSI and came on a nice sharp sell down. Would not be surprised yet again if we can see a little bit of an upward move, or maybe come down a little bit lower, break RSI to the low side, then make your upward move. Again, some people could argue a cup and handle pattern forming here. I don't think it came up quite high enough for that in my opinion, but add it to the list. And if you don't add that tier list, just keep these two things in mind. So keep a little bit of an eye on the industrial sector next week, see if it can continue making an upward move, because that can come to a lot of your plays. And again, think about the rail strikes here. We have to see if we get any update on this next week, or else I'm sure a lot of you guys do have holdings in Walmarts, in Targets. If you don't have UPSs and FedEx, something you own will be affected here. But anyway, my friends, there are 5 companies, 5 stocks to watch next week. Again, not necessarily to buy and hold long, but 5 stocks to watch for potential trades. And if you do want long-term positions, 5 to watch if you can get a good entry. Build that long-term position, baby. And again, I'm going to have another video like this coming out tomorrow for 5 electric vehicle stocks, so make sure you don't miss that. Anyway, guys, if you watch this video all the way till the end, you, my friend, are a true legend, and I really do appreciate you being here from the bottom of my heart. Your support means the world to me. If you did enjoy today's video, could I please ask you to hit that juicy like button, drop me a comment down below, and subscribe if you're new around here. Anyway, guys, I'm going to see you for another video very soon. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. Peace.